Hello, this is Malcolm Rose. I am doing another Bloatcrawl showcase today. As I mentioned, there are a lot of different species in this game, and some of them are extremely interesting. Actually, a lot of them are extremely interesting. The one that I had planned on starting out with, until I decided I wanted to torture myself with Felid Mummy, was actually the first thing that got me interested in this fork was Profound Elf, which is a very simple concept taken to a logical extreme. This is a deep elf that is twice as elven, deeper than deep elves. It's the Profound Elf. Instead of talking about it, I'm just going to show you. But we'll be playing something called a Sorcerer. Start with a random destructive spellbook and a well-worn robe of Archmagi. What does well-worn mean? It means it's -2. So we're a Profound Elf. I see that we have 7 hit points. That's what a Felid start with, I believe. Starts with? Start withs? Well, can't talk today. Anyway, you know what I mean. I start with 7 hit points, which means we have to be very, very careful. As far as items go, we only have the -2 robe of Archmagi. Nothing else. And of course a book. Let's find out what we got. It looks like we started with the air book, which means we have shock memorized. Let's look at our aptitudes. Do they look a little strange to you? It's just ×2 on everything that deep elves have. So if it was bad, it's now twice as bad. If it was good, it's now twice as good. And as you can see from my hit points, it applies to these things as well. And stats for that matter, I think. 3 strength, 24 intelligence. Wow. So, as you can see, my aptitudes are outrageous. Now, I don't actually want to go for air magic because it's the only thing that we have 0 skill in. Kind of sucks, right? So we're going to go in a different direction. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to train nothing but spellcasting. And we're going to get conjurations as well. We'll take spellcasting to 10 because 6 is an insane aptitude. We'll get there very easily. And then we'll train nothing but conjurations. And we're going to try to go for something else. Maybe necromancy for the +4 aptitude. That'd be pretty sweet. But, just trying to look here. I mean, 0 is not a bad aptitude, but it's not super fun for showcasing how crazy these guys are. I wanna make good use of these aptitudes. So we'll just pick up Vehumet or Sifmuna or something. So let's have some fun. We'll double zap this guy. Nice. You feel a surge of power. Remember, we've got Archmagi. It's pretty outrageous to have Archmagi at level 1. Uh-oh. And now, remember, we're kind of like a Felid. We don't want to take really any damage. Even this this bat. This bat could kill me. Oh man. See, this could kill me. I can't really get a double zap on him. Here we go. Ah, there we go. We could have died. 2 hit points left. I almost feel like I'm playing a Felid Mummy. Okay, let's get the double zap on him. Ooh, it's a D1 null, but that's okay. This character is pretty well equipped for killing such a thing. Nice. 2 double zaps. Worked out just fine. Let's get swiftness. You can see that our skills are flying along. Shock is already max spell power. I would have liked to have had basically any other book other than Air to showcase this character, but we're going to make it work. And we're going to have fun doing it. Oh, shouldn't have let him get next to me. But that's okay. He couldn't have one-shotted. I don't think. I mean, to a large degree, I can just zap these dudes, you know, and not care. Now, the interesting thing about this character is that if I run into a centaur early enough, I will just kind of lose, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it. We just killed an adder. I would have gone up if that hadn't worked. Just for fun, let's just get nothing but intelligence, even though we really don't need any more intelligence. Just for maximum fun. Let's avoid this dude for the time being. Ooh, and another one. If we had static discharge, why don't we memorize static discharge? And now I feel much more confident about fighting adders. Of course, remember, low hit points. Static discharge potentially could kill me. Sounds like a joke, but it's definitely possible. So the long story short is we just get this insane amount of spell power. Nice. Which is not too different than the other elf, one of the other elf combos, or not combos, one of the other elf archetypes, species. It's called Ember Elf, which is very similar to Profound Elf, but you get wild magic instead of having insane aptitudes, although I suspect that their aptitudes are also pretty good. Oh, I didn't mean to take that step forward. Whoops. Let's just static discharge. Whoa, miscast. Well, he missed, so that's good. Could have died there, though. I can't say I'm taking this game super seriously. If I lose, then it's whatever. I'm not. This is less about winning and more about showcasing this this combo. But well, I'm showcasing Bloatcrawl in general. But right now, Bloatcrawl is pretty much just the main game plus all these wacky species. So by showcasing a new combo, you're effectively showcasing Bloatcrawl, if that makes sense, or a portion of it. It's not like Hellcrawl where there's a bunch of very significant changes to the baseline game. Yeah, see, we actually do take a little bit of damage from static discharge, which is much more significant on a character like this. With 18 hit points at level 4. I mean, these aptitudes, if you're familiar at all with Dungeon Crawl, you understand that these aptitudes are outrageous. Plus 8 on something, that's as good as nulls, but they have to train everything at once. Plus 6, that's also as good as nulls on some things. Minus 4, that's as bad as trolls, you know. I mean, their worst aptitude is minus 5. We get minus 6 on some of these weapons, so it really is an extremely extreme version of Dungeon Crawl, which I think is really interesting, you know. I believe that, you know, even if the fork was created sort of as like a meme or a joke, I still believe that this is a worthwhile creation, and it's actually worthwhile to play. And I think that if mainline Crawl was willing to do things that seem at first blush a little bit wacky, you would see a more interesting game, you know. Uh-oh. This is genuinely scary. Let's walk away from this stuff. We're gonna die. Oh god, he can just get me. We're lignified. I didn't want to be lignified, but got him with static shock. We mutated. We're robust. Hooray. Identify. I think that the priest is not following. Ooh, I guess he could be, though, at which point I'm just kind of screwed. Oh, there's teleport. There's blinking. It's random uselessness. I'm looking for fog. It looks like I'm probably going to live. Oh, we found a book at some point. Well, there's pain. And Malign Gateway? What? When did I find that book? That's must have been on D1 because I was pressing O a lot. Ah, there it is. Wow. I picked that up as soon as I came down, I suppose. Grimoire of Sinister Compass. Of the Sinister Compass. That's an artifact book, not an unrand. It had an odd little collection of items, or an odd little collection of spells, rather. Malign Gateway, that's very endgame, and we could get it online insanely fast. Pain, of course, is necromancy. And we have a ludicrous necromancy aptitude, +4. So we're going to go for it. I mean, considering how excellent we are at spellcasting, we can do everything, you know. Let's go up. Now, unfortunately, we've got this. Whoa! I did not mean to shout that second time. Thankfully, we have swiftness. There's a wand of random effects, and by the way, even our evocations apt is improved because now it's 2. Which I believe on a deep elf it's only 1. Even stealth is improved to +6. So literally everything about being a deep elf is doubled, not just your spells. Oh, another book. Huh. Transmutations. That's interesting. Certainly a direction we could go. Ashanzari. Well, I don't have any more remove curse except for 1. It would be kind of interesting for getting things online really quickly. I mean, I could just take it for fun. Let's just take it for fun. Why not? Curse item. We'll curse the Archmagi. Well, I should probably curse rings, but yeah, we'll curse that. again, I'm not making tactically, you know, like, oh my god, I gotta maximize my win rate kind of decisions. I am just trying to do fun stuff. Fun stuff that showcases this kind of character, and I can get skills even faster if I have Ashen Zari, so it'll be fine. I am going to try to not do too silly of things, so let's avoid that priest and maybe fight somewhere that's just a bit safer. Ooh. Yeah, we can get a double zap there. And there. Try as I might to avoid these air magic spells, they're proving very useful, you know. Almost 30 intelligence, it's hilarious, at level 6. I would say that, to a large degree, Bloatcrawl could be considered a celebration of excess. At least in the case of something like this character, where it's... At least in a case of something like this. I'm wearing this crappy longsword on purpose. I knew it was cursed because of Ashen Zari, but that's exactly what I wanted. But yeah, you know, in the case of something like a Profound Elf, yeah, it's a celebration of excess. It's just really, really out there, really extreme. And kind of the same thing could be said of the Felid Mummy as well. It's extremely bad on purpose. As a challenge, really. And this is extremely... Well, I wouldn't even call this extremely good. I would call this extremely powerful and extremely weak. You know? It's not necessarily about making overpowered combos or anything like that. It's more about just weird, wacky ideas, you know, that wouldn't get the time of day in mainline crawl. For example, water sprites are a crazy idea that you'd probably never see that. You'd probably never see that show up in mainline crawl or anything like it. It's just too out there. It's too radical. It's too different. I guess I should probably say what they do, which the main gimmick of the water sprite is that it has low hit points. It's slow, but if you're able to break line of sight with enemies, you immediately go to full hit points. So if you can somehow use a fog effect, although they can't use scrolls in the sight of enemies. I'm not sure if that's the minus scroll ability from Rue, or something else, but you'd have to create fog some other way, like Cloak of the Thief, or, you know, there's some other methods. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, it's just a really interesting kind of idea. What's my T-Log zapped? 2, and then summoning is also 2. I want to get Malign Gateway, that'd be hilarious. I'm almost tempted to get Gale's Gravitas. It's never good. If I was going for pure win rate, I'd probably get Sticks to Snakes, because it's just insane. But again, this is just a showcase. Jeez, Gale's Gravitas. Yeah, what am I doing trying to do Necromancy if I'm not guaranteed any more Necromancy spells? Let's go wild. Let's get Translocations. Even if Gale's Gravitas is bad, I don't care. But I mean, you could definitely make the argument that some of the stuff in this game is broken. Or this fork, rather, is broken. You could make the argument that Profound Elves are broken. I would say no, at least no more than some other stuff that's in mainline crawl. Ooh, that could have been bad. But as I've mentioned in some of my other videos, some of the most interesting games don't put a lot of thought or waste a lot of time on game balance, particularly games where you're not necessarily competing head-to-head with another player. You know, like Crawl, it's kind of funny because in a lot of ways it does ignore game balance. If the backgrounds and the species were meant to be balanced, you wouldn't have Trog. You wouldn't have, or rather, you wouldn't have a Trog Zealot, you know, the Berserker. It's just, there's no way to lose a Berserker barring incredibly bad luck or incredibly bad choices. If you're experienced at the game, you should pretty much never lose a Berserker. It just shouldn't happen. That's not the case for some other backgrounds. You know, there's other backgrounds, and a lot of them, where even a minor mistake can get you killed early on, especially. Nice. This is outrageous that I'm mostly doing this with shock. Shouldn't have trained those, shouldn't have trained that necromancy. That's okay though. But yeah, I think I mentioned I purposefully wore this longsword because it gives me piety faster if I'm walking around with more cursed stuff. At least I think that's how it works. -2 longsword isn't really a big deal since I'm really just wearing it for the ripostes anyway. If I was playing this character for win rate, by the way, I'd probably go for something like Sif Muna, just because we'd want to get all the spells, or probably go Zag, actually, so I could buy bookshops. But we're going to have some fun with Ashen Zari here. Whoops. Shouldn't have let him get next to me. Uh-oh. Poison. Oh, +2 Dagger of Draining. That would be a good find if my longsword wasn't cursed, but then again, we're really not going to be caught dead casting spells, are we? Or, rather, caught dead not casting spells. Melee is just not what this character does, to put it simply. Static discharge definitely bringing the pain for me. And in fact, my hit points aren't too bad right now either. We could even fight that Orc Priest now. Survive 2 attacks by him, I believe. Let's see, 17 plus 17 is 31, so we're pretty close to being able to survive two smites from an Orc Priest. Fairly close. Okay, let's, looks like we're done with sewer. I'm gonna head up. I'm gonna head up again. We're gonna finish exploring this. Well, it appears he's avoided us. That's fine. I'm not gonna go hunting for him. Whew. Some solid damage that I did to myself with static discharge. Something like 5 points. funny is my aptitudes are so outrageous that it might even be a good idea, and I'm not sure about this, but it might be a good idea for me to use the Ashinzari skill focus ability to move some of my stuff. This didn't even occur to me. I can pretend, if you want me to, I can pretend like I had this idea the whole time. But I could transfer something from like a +8 aptitude into something with a -4 aptitude. That would be... See, like, what's funny about that thing that just occurred to me is that if you said something like that to one of the current, the current members of the dev team for mainline crawl, they would probably not like that. I see it and I think that's hilarious. That's awesome. That's like a janky combo. But if you look at what they did with Knowles, they made it so transfer skill on Ashinzari doesn't work. And they said it would be, I don't know if they think it was just a raw power thing. And maybe it would be ridiculous, I don't know. But I see that, and I just think that's like just a cool option, you know? And as long as it doesn't make things too insane, what does it matter, you know? Got him. Alright, this Orc Warrior is actually pretty scary. Of course, we can do quite a lot of damage to him. If I could just get some double zaps. Forget this. He can probably one-shot me. I'd need to look up exactly how much a trident does. But I know he does 20. At least I think he does 20. I think I just saw a scimitar. Yeah. Unbranded. And of course there's his ice dragon scales there. That's sort of interesting, but... But yeah, for me, obviously I do think that there is some line. Got him. There's of course there is some line for overpoweredness. You don't want to put something in the game that just completely erases any challenge. But I mean, I think that's the proper line. Is as long as it doesn't give inexperienced players the ability to win. Without learning anything about the game, that's the spot. Like, the sweet spot for me is Berserker. If it's not any more powerful than Berserker, put it in the game. Or if it's not any more powerful than Deep Dwarf, which a lot of people don't like Deep Dwarves because of the way that they play, but they're the most powerful thing in Dungeon Crawl. And the easiest thing to win once you learn how their mechanics work. It's very difficult to lose one because you can just sort of heal wounds anytime you want to, you know? And you have damage shaving for every attack, which is, not hugely significant, but it's nice. And there's just a lot of reasons why Deep Dwarves are just incredibly powerful. So as long as the species doesn't make the game easier than Deep Dwarf, and the background doesn't make the game any easier than Berserker, I mean, I think there's a lot of room for exploration of things that do seem to have, not like necessarily an overpowered power level, but a wacky kind of weird one, like Profound Elf. Where you have a big strength and a big weakness that counteracts it. I mean, there's a lot of room to explore, and I think people would find it more interesting. Let's enchant up this robe. It's no longer well worn. It's down to +0. Yeah, I think people naturally find that kind of thing very interesting. And maybe it's just me, I don't know. But when I first heard about this, I thought, wow, well, this is a really This is a really fresh take on a game that has largely grown stagnant in its development. And I thought to myself, why isn't this stuff being tried? You know, in mainline crawl. Now, with that said, I can't dog them too much because yeah, we did recently get Knolls, and that was a pretty fresh take. Uh-oh, we could definitely die here. Whoa, he even has a bolt of acid. That's hilarious. Well, we have blink. I'm gonna shut the door on him. Yeah, we're gonna have to blink. I was gonna try to swiftness my way to the staircase here, but it's not happening. All right, that's fine though. All right, we're aiming for Malign Gateway as our end game. We'll take both to 10 and then reevaluate where we're at on castability. Whoa. And again, we've got something interesting going on. I may be the first person in the history of Dungeon Crawl to use Gels Gravitas in a way that actually was good. This may be one of the only characters in all of Dungeon Crawl and the Forks that can use Gels Gravitas and get the spell power high enough, fast enough, that it's a really good thing to have. It's a notoriously bad spell, which is, it gets kind of a bad rap. Hey, let's go into Temple and get some piety, just from exploring. Ashen Zari gives explore piety, as you know, so... Ooh, degeneration. Oh my god. Lost my strength. That's hilarious. We are... I drank degeneration and my strength was so low that it actually went to 0. So I'm slowed now. Until I get a point of that back. Oh hey, we have some points of it back temporarily. Well, that's interesting. It doesn't uncollapse me. Well, we want to get off this floor. I guess we're just gonna have to... Oh well, it did uncollapse me. It just took several turns. You've lost your strength. Yeah, you get paralyzed a little bit every time that happens, so I should probably be careful. Golem Earth Elementalist. Whew. Sandblast, Stone Arrow, 50, 64 hit points. Oh god. Pull him, go up. We can't fight that. We're in a very bad situation. I was looking for Brilliance, by the way. I wanted to cast Malign Gateway super early to take out Joseph, the mercenary. But I mean, if you look at this, I'm only level 8, and I've already got Malign Gateway to 98%. It's pretty outrageous. That means that within like 1 or 2 more levels, I could probably get it castable. Alright, let's try. I'd rather not fight that ghost. This is unfortunately, Bloatcrawl is unfortunately based on a version that still has ghosts walking around in the open. That's... I would characterize that as not so good. I'm just waiting for the moment that I actually get some strength back, you know. It just happens from experience. But every action we're taking, they're getting to take too. Let's see if I can walk away. However, I can use swiftness to counteract some of that. You'll notice that walking is 1.5 speed. It's usually 1. You can see that up here every time I take a single step in the parentheses. Ooh, psyche. Or psych, if you prefer. She's got a disto dagger. We gotta beat her very quickly. Can I poly her? I forget what her MR is like. 46%. Oh, that's worse. Uh-oh. We got a fear. This floor is looking pretty bad. She actually could have killed me there with the breath. Alright, here's our guy. I think we're just going to have to roll the dice on killing him. I could blink away. Jeez. Okay, he noted. I wanted him not to notice me. I was thinking I could hide behind this column. It's unclear what the chances of polymorphing him are. 28%, okay. I was wondering why it wasn't showing it to me. It's because I had random effects on accidentally instead of poly. We don't want to try that. Jeez. Well, I can pull him backwards, but I can't damage him because there's nobody else around to knock him into. And he can just throw these sling bullets at me, which ultimately is going to get me killed. And unfortunately, we cannot Malign Gateway. So I think we're going to teleport and walk once. And thanks to being slow, it immediately teleported me. You feel your intelligence returning. How about some strength? So I'm not slow. You feel your strength returning. Okay, that's much better. We're not exactly in the best position, because of course we've still got Joseph on this floor and Acid Dragon on the next. But we're not in the worst position either. Oh, we have a more remove curse. Let's curse positive energy. And the reason for that is we can get bonuses as soon as, let's see, as soon as I get one more Pip of Piety. Alright, here's our guy. Again, I didn't really want to fight him, but what are you going to do? Swiftness. Okay, that's definitely not the other staircase that we want to go down to. Oh hey, this is good. As long as something doesn't have a ranged attack, we really can just use Gale's Gravitas to, that sound you hear is my keyboard moving, by the way. But yeah, Gale's Gravitas is very good for resetting fights against melee stuff. It's not exactly what I would call mana efficient. It costs 3 each time, but it's not bad. Check this out, a 3 stack of enchant armor. Our -2 Robe of Archmagi has slowly but surely become a +2 Robe of Archmagi. It's good stuff. Whoa, it's next to me. No. No. What's the range on this guy? Spit acid. Is it the full screen? Because that's wild. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, man, that's the full screen. That's that means even if I could get him far away with Gell's Gravitas, I wouldn't necessarily work. I could just static discharge in the hopes that it would work. Whew, okay. I think that the right move is to blink. He can acid me. We'll see if he does. He doesn't. Swiftness. Wow. Now, obviously he's like right there, so... And Joseph is nearby. So, well, not necessarily nearby, but he's on this floor, so we need to do another staircase down, and we need to do it quickly so we're off the floor. This isn't the best, because we're still relatively close to the formerly Psyche, now Acid Dragon enemy. So, let's skedaddle on out of here. Hey, Ashanzari is now supporting my skills, so you'll note that Malign Gateway just jumped to 71%. Pretty sweet stuff. Yeah, you'll see it's, if I look at the base level, 8.5 transoccasions jumps to 10. It's awesome. And if I had an amulet, it would be even higher. You know what I could do? If I could put some kind of... If I could put an enemy between me and the dragon. That would be ideal. Well, what would really be ideal is casting Malign Gateway and just killing it. I'm trying to get away from this section of the floor. Oh, there's this ghost as well. Let's just see if we can't. He's playing goalie over there. I really want to get to the staircase and get off this floor and kind of roll the dice on another one. Should have been Gell's Gravitasing. You know, in the middle of all those guys. It's kind of funny that I can see all the items that they had, knowing that this is a +3 dire flail of freezing. That kind of thing's very, it's very useful. Ashanzari gives you more of a boost than I think people give her credit for in the early game, because, you know, you get just this wondrous treasure trove of information, you know. I'm probably only going to do an hour of gameplay on this. I probably won't finish the game. Again, really just meant as a showcase. I'm not going to do the full game for these things. I think it's pretty clear that, you know, after Felid Mummy, I think I can win just about anything. That's not really in question, but I'm more interested in kind of just introducing this fork to people, you know, showing them some of the cooler things that are in it. Because, I mean, a lot of people have not even heard of Dungeon Crawl forks. It's funny because they added a channel in the main Dungeon Crawl Discord called DCSS Variants, and I saw this guy in there just the other day. I was like, what is this? What's a variant? They probably should have called it forks, but anyway, we'll gills him away. Sort of wacky how huge the gills. Look at this. This gills radius is massive, massive, massive. And what I might do is I might leave this guy on this account, and if people want to see more of it, you know, make a comment, I guess. I might just leave this here and make a new account for the other showcases. But otherwise, I'm probably not going to finish this just because it's... Well, I might. It's definitely fun. It's going to be particularly fun to get Malign Gateway online before Lair. I mean, are you serious? I'll tell you what, I'll go over an hour if need be. We're 47 minutes in now. I'll stay on, and I'll keep going until we get Malign Gateway online, just to demonstrate how insanely early it can happen. Let's take him into double zap land. Whoops. There we go. The thing about these profound elves is you have so much mana, you can afford to waste it, you know, on tons and tons of shenanigans. Like Gil's Gravitas over and over and over and over. Here's somebody who can do a lot of damage to me. Okay, this is fine. We'll wait a turn. Oh no. Okay. He's backing up. I can fix this. Just remembered, like, gee, I have a spell for this that I've been talking about for the last 20 minutes. There's nothing that stops you from using it next to you, things as far as I know, unless you orient it directly on top of you, they won't slam into you, therefore doing damage to you. You don't have to worry about that. Oh, we have scrying now. I could use that if I wanted to. By the way, if you're casting spells like this, you really don't want to cast them at low level, even on something crazy like this, because that red means that you can, even yellow means that you can suffer some really, 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 really nasty miscasts, including your favorite thing, which is a trip to the abyss. Or you could summon an ice fiend that's hostile. A lot of really, really ugly things could happen. You know what? Screw it. I'm not trying to win rate here. Let's just... How about that? How about casting Malign Gateway at level 9? With no wizardry. How do you like that? I like that. Sort of silly. I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of silly. I guess you can use Gil's Gravitas with the tentacle and not have to worry about hitting it and going hostile. That's interesting. I didn't know that. The cool thing about playing these forks is it's not, you know, it's not just for fooling around. You, let's uncurse this longsword. And wear the falchion. But yeah, it's not just for fooling around. You will learn things. Putting yourself, and it's like in anything in life, putting yourself into situations that are difficult, and this is one of the reasons you want to challenge yourself as much as possible in life. Putting yourself into situations that are difficult or limiting will force you to adapt and learn and do interesting things to survive or to succeed. And I'll give you an example. That felid mummy that I played. Oh, I'm getting owned. Oh. Okay, there we go. Lost my train of thought there. That felid mummy that I played, I learned something really interesting about mainline crawl, or really probably almost any crawl fork. If you watched me winning that, you saw that near the end, I joked I called it a galaxy brain move, but it really did occur to me right then and there that you can use, you could use Phantom Mirror on a oh no. Oh, are we dead? Nope. You could use Phantom Mirror on a Ghost Moth, and then you could have that Ghost Moth target an orb of fire. And the situation had just never come up before, I guess, to where I needed to do that to survive. But on that felon mummy, it was like I didn't want to teleport because the character is so weak and miserable and sad and easily killed, you know, so I had limited options. And I started thinking, well, I have these 2 orbs of fire near me. I could die if I try to re-engage them, you know, without doing some kind of shenanigans. What can I do to make this situation better? Can we just beat this guy? Do we have curing? We have a couple curing. Yeah, we got him. So yeah, I saw I had the Phantom Mirror, I saw that the Ghost Moth was right there, and I saw that I had, if I recall correctly, I had Haunt and some things online like that. And they were, I had a little bit of time before the Orbs of Fire would show up and start owning me. So I thought, okay, let's make this situation much better. So I did. But if if I was playing any other character, one that was not a Felid Mummy, one that could quaff potions, one that just had more hit points and would be more inclined to teleport, it probably would never have even occurred to me to try doing that. Because there were options that were either better or perhaps just more familiar. There are, even on characters that are not Felid Mummies, there's probably a good reason to do that strategy, and yet it just never occurred to me before. As human beings, I think that a lot of people, I think that it's kind of in our nature to trend towards the familiar to a fault. People will stay in situations that are just completely miserable. And you've seen it in people's relationships and working situations and whatever. The unknown is generally a lot more terrifying to people than anything else. Because, oh God, it's bad now, but how much worse could it be? And maybe people don't necessarily, oh crap. He's fast in the water, come on. There we go. People don't necessarily have these thoughts consciously, but that is the thought process behind the scenes, in the instinctual part of your brain. It's that this situation is bad, but it could be much worse. And I think that evolved because people who took too many risks and changed, rocked the boat too much in a state of nature tended to get eaten by lions, perhaps. Just a theory. But my point is that, people will remain in these situations that you would think would be completely untenable forever. And this whole idea extends to everything as simple as a video game. Sure, I'm just talking about Dungeon Crawl now. It's whatever. It's just a game. Who cares? But I'm saying this extends to everything in somebody's life. It's that you will be naturally, not everybody, but most people, I would say, more inclined to just stick with the status quo. And that's just something you got to resist if you want to live a particularly successful life. And I don't necessarily mean money. A lot of people think money means success, but I just mean like, oh, okay, I slammed it into the tentacle and it did in fact go hostile, so what I said earlier was a lie. You can make your dudes go hostile if you're not careful. Anyway, I guess for all that big spiel, what I really am just saying is don't be afraid to try new things, not just in Dungeon Crawl, but in everything you're doing. I dated a girl once who was working this job that she hated. She really hated it. Her coworkers were sort of nutty. She was essentially being asked to do the job of 2-3 people and getting paid for the job of one person. And she's like, well, what if I can't find another job? Well, it's like, what if the next job is worse? Sometimes it's better to take the risk, Look at me trying to talk and play this game at the same time. I'm gonna lose this. I'm gonna lose this guy on account of doing this. What can he do? 8 damage, 9. There we go. Anyway, we're up on an hour anyway, so I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna get off my soapbox here. I think this is a pretty good showcase of Profound Elf. I went Ashen'Zari just because it was the first thing I found. It's kind of fun. There are some synergies there, like I was saying. we got Malign Gateway on at level 10 before Lair even, although I wouldn't be casting it if I was, trying to streak just because of that miscast possibility. But in any event, this is an excellent showcase of Profound Elf, just how quickly you can get crazy high-level stuff online. Is it broken? Yeah, in some ways, but again, 40 hit points in Lair. That means that a 2-headed Hydra could one-shot me. Just 2. Imagine getting hit by a 5-headed Hydra, I'd die for sure. So, I think it's awesome. I think this fork is awesome. I think really extreme mechanics in games are awesome. And I think you should give it a shot. As usual, a link to the server that hosts this stuff will be in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, I'm signing out.